Come in. You know Detective Chief Superintendent Craddock, sir?
Indeed I do. How are you, Chief Detective Superintendent, after your great victory?
Surviving, thank you very much, sir.
Fine. Well done indeed. All of you. Wonderful team effort, great leadership. The PM was absolutely delighted. So was I. We all were. Goodbye, Craddock.
Bye, sir.
Goodbye, James.
Goodbye, Minister. Sit down, John. Look, John, don't think that I'm prying into anything, but Mike Piggott informed me of your request for help over a certain matter. Investigation of a big industrial group.
That's right, sir.
He had to, you understand. I have to authorize any extra expenditure of that kind. Now, while I'm not trying in any way to interfere with your investigation, it is still the gold robbery.
Oh, yes.
In that case, I think I have a fair idea what it's all about. When I warned you about associating with Bolt, I may have got the wrong end of the stick, possibly. Look, I've been in this business even longer than you have. In my time, I've had a go at the big boys in the city and the establishment. I got my fingers burnt. Rather badly. It's an area, how shall I put it, that's not beyond our comprehension, but beyond our effective power. Quite simply, their guns are bigger than ours. Unless there's definite evidence, proof. Is there?
No, sir, not yet.
Uh-huh. Put it another way. As far as the powers that be are concerned, this case is over. They're happy.
Well, is that official?
No, but it's pretty definite. You heard the minister.
Yeah, but there's still £4 million to be accounted for, stolen money.
I know, John, I know.
Yes, well, I want to account for it, sir.
John, my advice to you, my quite unofficial advice to you is to forget it. I shall be retiring at the end of the year. In confidence, your name's up for promotion. One day, this seat will be yours for the asking, if you want it. But don't make a nonsense of things now.
I think I see what you mean, sir.
The assistant commissioner's straight. I mean, he must be.
Oh, must he? He may be straight, but he's pretty pliable. In the boots of the bloody politicians. I thought I'd say that of Jim Farr.
I suppose you have to be a bit like that up there.
Why?
To survive. Look, I know the gold's still missing, but perhaps it's a bit beyond us. Perhaps you should pack it in now. It was more or less an order. I'm thinking of you,
Well,
John.
stop thinking of me. Start thinking of George Necros. He's a gold robber and he's missing. He's murdered 2 people under our noses. We've got enough evidence here to send him away for life. Well, let's get this Necros for a start. Shouldn't be beyond our effective power, should it? Should it?
No.
Get me every scrap there is known. Public, private, gossip, everything on Grayson.
The man's a minister in the government.
Look, do you want me to get somebody else to help finish this case?
You know very well I don't. This bit? Well, it's dodgy.
Dodgy? I say it's dodgy. Oh, no, that's all right. He's my son. Send him in, please. Come in, Terry. How are you?
Fine. What's so important, Dad? I'm a bit pushed.
Sit down, Terry. I want to talk to you. Well, the divorce is underway.
I see.
Hope you're pleased.
Yes, I am. Does Mum know?
She will tomorrow. I've taken a bit of time to make up my mind about...
Yes. No doubt you've a very good reason for doing it now.
There's another thing. Quite a different thing I want to talk to you about. It's about you and your future.
I think you can leave that to me.
You probably know the company you're working for isn't in very good shape at present, huh? Perhaps you ought to be looking around.
If I want another job, I'll get one.
You could be a great help to me, you know, Terry, if you'd just jot down a few notes on the feelings the people in the Bolt Empire have about the company.
I don't understand what
Well,
you...
just write down any stories, rumours, any doubtful transactions in the past, that kind of thing.
You're asking me to spy for you?
I want information. I'm not talking to you as your father now. I'm speaking to you as a detective.
You've always spoken as detective. Good God. Why do you always have to use such underhand ways of doing everything?
It's not underhand. I want to get certain facts, the truth, if you like, causing as little damage as possible.
You got me into the company just for this. Just so you'd have a spy there, didn't you?
That's not true. Bolt suggested it himself. I agreed for your sake.
You're supposed to be a great friend of his. Well, you ask him, because I'm not doing your dirty work for you.
All right. I can't force you.
You would if you could, though, wouldn't you? Yes, I am pleased about the divorce. I'll see she's all right. You just leave us alone.
That's all right.
You haven't spoken about this to anyone else, have you, Teddy?
No, sir.
I very much appreciate your loyalty to me and to the group. It's a virtue that's a bit scarce these days.
Thank you, sir.
I think the best thing is we both forget all about it.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Well, thank you very much indeed. Goodbye now.
Goodbye, sir.
Get me the editor, Richard Bolt. Please. Oh, Walter. Get me that file on Craddock, will you? You know the one. Yeah. I'm in the country. Get it down here by car.
Remember Dillo?
Dillo? Yeah, the grass, a little bit of garbage. You owed Eddie making £300.
Ah, that's it. Well, Miles has come up with some new info about him. He drives a minicab part-time for the Near and Far Taxi Company. You know, picking up mugs and introducing them to the clubs, and then giving the buzz if they're worth rolling. Well, Near and Far Taxis are controlled by George Necros.
Okay. Pull him in on something small. Check his license or something. And somewhere quiet.
I'm not having any bloody policemen standing it up for me at a time like this. I mean, if the slightest whisper of a police investigation gets around the city, it could start the smart boys selling me short. And that could be the end. I tell you, Martin, the finish. The airline alone lost over $2 million last year. The annual meeting's on Friday. I'll probably be able to get away with it with one of my rosy future trust Bolt speeches. The figures have been a bit better for the last quarter. But it's going to be bloody tricky. I don't mind if I've got to sell everything else. I'm not going to have my airline destroyed. It's mine. I built it. I put my life's blood into it. It's better run, better pilots, better maintained aircraft than any airline in the world. Anyone who tries to sabotage Victor comes up against me, Richard Bolt. And God help him.
Where did you get all this stuff on Craddock?
That's an immoral question from a minister of the crown. Even retired policemen have their price.
Is it really true about him living with this woman?
Gospel. And what's more, I consider it my duty as a citizen to expose any corruption in the police by publishing it good and big in my newspaper. That'll make you boys squirm, too, won't it? It'll be all across the front page unless action is taken. Swift and definite action. I want Craddock off the case.
Oh, that seems all right then, Dillo. All in order. Yeah. Near and Far Taxi Company. Who runs that one?
Don't know. Line of work from temp, you know, when I pushed on that. Just some geezer in the office.
Oh, I see.
So that's all right, huh?
Aye, aye. Oh, would you like a cuppa before you go?
Yeah, I won't say no.
Sugar?
A couple, thanks.
You work nights on this job as well?
Saturdays, yeah.
Oh, some rough types about Saturday nights.
Well, you'd know, wouldn't you?
Awkward situations.
Yeah, well, I think just because you're a cabbie, you're working, you've got to be stupid, you know. I'm only in it for the money, aren't I?
Aye, it's not all that funny sometimes being a cab driver. And you can't very well refuse a fare, can you?
No, it stands to reason, doesn't it? You, don't have to get some right fares in this. When is it, the other night. Picked up a right nutter. All of a sudden, he pulls out, oh, it must have been the biggest bottle of whiskey I ever saw. Shoves it under my nose. Want to drink it? Chinese, see? So, stops at a chemist. Picks up this other fellow. Driving around. Suddenly his hand on my shoulder. Stoppy, Johnny. So I pull into the curb. What do you reckon? He's only given his mate a fix. He's a junkie. I thought, well, that's charming. Me with a clean licence.
No. Hello, Dillo.
Mr. Cutler, I better be off.
Sit down.
Look, I'm grafting what I'm supposed to. He's checked my life.
Can you remember when we first met? Can you cast your mind back?
Can. Of course I can. It was about some geezer.
No, it wasn't about some geezer. It was about Eddie Makin. And you owed him 300 quid, if I can refresh your memory, and he was chasing you around for that money, desperate about something. And that was about the same time, almost exactly the same time, that he was murdered. Brutally murdered.
I don't know what you mean, Miss Scott. I mean, I don't know what you're after.
I'm after the man who murdered Eddie Makin. That's who I'm after, and you fit the bill very well. Almost exactly. Motive, 300 quid.
Joke, yeah. Is it some sort of a joke? I mean, it's got to be, hasn't it? Look, I'll be straight with you, honest.
Honest, straight? He will have his little joke, won't
I
he?
mean, I never saw Eddie Makin. I mean, I never had nothing to do with it
Well,
at
who
all.
did then? Who did kill Eddie Makin?
I don't know.
You've got 48 hours from this minute, 48 hours, to tell me the whereabouts of George Necros. Now, you know him, you've worked for him.
What is this, eh?
48 hours, or I'm going to pull you in and charge you with the murder of Eddie Makin.
You couldn't do that, could you?
Oh, couldn't I? Do you want me to prove it? Assistant Commissioner wants to see me.
Wonder what it's about now.
Could be about our friend here. He's more important than he realised.
Funny thing, he didn't know that Necros runs near and far taxis.
Didn't he really? Oh, well, now he does know. I'm sure you'll come to an amicable arrangement.
Oh, I'm sure we will.
He sent for me and asked me if I was aware of the fact that you'd been breaking the rules by living with another woman while you were still officially married. And to tell him the truth, that I'd been given a report to that effect, that I'd warned you, and decided to go no further, which, in my opinion, was the correct action.
I haven't seen her since. Divorce is underway.
Very good, useful evidence in your defense, but beside the point at this moment. There are facts, detailed facts of times and places and conversations, professionally put together.
Where have they come from?
Can't tell you that. It'll have to come out at the inquiry. But you know as well as I do the kind of people who peddle in this dirt. I've warned you before that there are plenty of people in this very building who loathe your guts.
And outside it, too.
I've had a rocket for shoveling it all under the carpet. You understand me, John? I can't avoid setting up an official inquiry. The order has come from above, right above.
Yes.
Personally, I much regret it. It has been suggested. I've been advised to suspend you pending the results of the inquiry.
But I'm still in the middle
I've
of...
decided to keep you on the case until you tell me it's concluded.
Oh, thank you very much, sir.
It's possible, I suppose, under certain circumstances, further pressure may be put on me, which I could hardly resist. I've done my best for you, John. I can do no more.
Well, I only hope you've done enough, sir.
So do I.
You doing with that thing?
I've come to an arrangement with Dillo. We're monitoring his cab.
Oh, hope it gets you somewhere.
Well, it's worked before. Depends if Dillo thinks he can get away with it. He's scared stiff of you. Necros is down there in the East End somewhere, all right, strutting about on his own midden. Thinks no one can touch him.
Like Richard Bolt. They're both mad in their different ways, folly to grandeur. The city's buzzing with rumours Bolt's in trouble. Oh, nothing official, everything denied, but his shares are dropping in value. Brokers losing confidence. I'm going to talk to one now. That's the number, in case you want me.
Right. Oh, by the way, I've got some stuff on Grierson.
Put it on tape. I know Bolt started Victor Air when he left the Fleet Air Arm after the war.
Yes, he started in a... Oh, please. Yes, he started in a very small way. 3 Dakotas doing ferry work, mostly trooping. The Berlin airlift was his first break. He made enough money out of that to buy a small import-export business and then started a travel agency. And by '59 he was the chairman of a very thriving business and well on his way to his first million. It was in that year that 40% of his shares were put on the market. We offered them to the public, as a matter of fact. Enormous response. 7 times oversubscribed. I remember meeting Bolt here and thinking what a charming bloke he was. But there was a look in his eye, you know. I've seen it before. He wanted the sun, and he was bloody well going to get it, whatever the cost.
I know what you mean exactly.
The climate of the early 60s, you know, was just right for the Bolts of this world to thrive on. They never had it so good, period. Bolt bought in little companies, left, right, and centre. Some people think that takeovers are something new. Bolt practically invented the word. Everything he touched seemed to turn to gold. Oh, 62, he spent over $3 million on new aircraft alone. But it was about then that things started to go wrong. Yes. Yes, you can see it reflected in the profits for 63. You see, Bolt was relying on an ever-expanding economy to pay his cash debts. Without expansion, his profits couldn't be spread. And then with increased taxation, the first of the squeezes, £50 travel allowance, these sort of things hit Bolt hard. And then in 66, he lands the Tunisian government contract. Suddenly, all his planes are in the air. Everything's bright again. And then last summer, Tunisia went bad on him. The Civil War blew a big hole in the Bolt group of companies. Rather like a donut, but without the jam. And, you see, Bolt rather unwisely accepted part payment for his services in Tunisian government securities. They're still listed as cash reserve on the balance sheet, though.
Are they worth much?
On paper, which is what the accountant works on. But on the floor of the stock exchange, you couldn't give them away with packets of tea. And then in January, Tunisia fell. And what with the fiasco of the gold robbery... But, oh, you know rather more about that than I do. Bolt shares hit rock bottom. And the city felt that it was a bit of a one-man band and accident-prone. And 1 or 2 institutions began to murmur about a reshuffle, rationalization.
Did Bolt look like going bust then?
A show like that doesn't go bust. It gets eaten. Once the word gets out, everyone gathers around for a nibble, then a bite, and then a munch, until the carcass is bare, or goes into liquidation. That's what's happening to the Bolt Group today. As a matter of fact, I hear that Bolt's going to be asked to resign the chairmanship of all his companies at the AGM.
Well, will he agree?
We won't have any alternative. It'll be a vote of shareholders.
Oh, I see.
Anyone make a pickup? Saunders Nest Road, the north end of Greenwich Foot Tunnel.
Delta 7 here, Delta 7.
You come in, Delta 7.
Okay, I can take you, Delta 7 out.
Okay, Delta 7, you take it, Dillo.
Hello, Dillo. The Duke of Clarence, burn rubber.
Martin Grierson became a director of Victor Airlines on September the 8th, 1966. At that time, he wasn't a minister, but he did have a special interest in African affairs, and especially Tunisian affairs. 5 weeks later, on October the 11th, Victor got the contract for all European ferrying by air for Tunisia. Thomas? Okay, fine.
When you're clear, can you make through to Paddington Station?
Delta 7 to base. Delta 7 to base. Add a Duke of Clarence.
Dropping off for a minute. Get over Bebby. Okay, Delta 7.
Of course, one can't be too sure. Bolt's a tremendous fighter, very resilient, or lucky, or both. For example, in February this year, an Italian firm called Fiesole Tours bought Victor Airlines lock, stock and barrel. Paid a very good price. And damn it if Richard Bolt don't become chairman.
This Fiesole Tours, were they a big company, I mean, at the time?
I don't know. Doesn't sound a very impressive name, does it?
Could Bolt have owned it?
Oh, hardly. I don't know, though. Yes, he might have bought it. God and the Swiss bankers alone know how much money he had stashed away. Still has, for all I know. Anyway, by March, all was smiles again on the strength of one of Bolt's rosy speeches to the company, pulling out all the stops. You know, the sort of thing, increased expansion, foreign markets, double the profits by 1970, all that stuff. And Bolt's shares rose. And then he managed to raise a big new loan, and damn it if he didn't have the impudence to buy the Evening Mail. Of course, looking back on it, it was a bit of a last-ditch stand, but still. Excuse me. Thought I said I wasn't to be disturbed. Oh, I see. It's for you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah? Right, Tom. Right. Get a flying squad from the factory to the area right away. Yes, armed. Don't tell the local boys. Right. Afraid an emergency's cropped up. I'll have to leave you for now.
Oh, all right. I've still got plenty of digging to do.
When I'm dragged up, all the feeling's immense. But I'll admit it puts me right on a fence, 'cause I can't use the ladies and I don't use the gents. That's why the Broad is a fraud. Let me repeat, things ain't what they seem. It's like a dream. In bed I'm Fred, find it safer to stay wide awake. Don't call me madam, this Eve's an Adam. That's why the ladies are fake. I was thinking of something like that, Mr. Netcross. That's the sort of stuff they like.
I can imagine it. Look, the clubs I run are very superior places. My clients are a very particular class of people. You appreciate what I'm saying?
Of course I do, Mr. Netcross. Well, how about this one? Here we are, out of Benzedrine. Mother wore the trousers, Dad was called Doreen. Two peculiar people who just couldn't quite, and too full of gin to say goodnight.
He's great. I mean, it's very nice.
I wouldn't say it was good. I wouldn't say it was bad. But that sort of thing's all right in some places. But I won't have vulgarity in my clubs. They don't like it, and I don't like it.
I've just had some mint mate from Brother Roy Nick. The heavy mob from the factories down here, and credits with him, Mr. Necklace.
That don't sound too good. All right, get my motor over to Wapping Old Stairs.
Right away.
She's Bella, the belle of the Bowery. Without her, the gay 90s wouldn't be gay. She's as gay as they come, and they come every day.
Shut up. Where's Necross?
Who's he when
Now
he's
cut
in
it out.
town?
Where's Necross?
I don't know, I'm sure.
Well, you saw him. He was here.
Sir.
Hand it over to Rotherhide. Tiller.
Look, here, there's a boat. Looks as if they're crossing in it.
Put out a general. Close the area, Tower Bridge, Commercial Road, Stepney East. One that might be dangerous.
Broken into the London dock at gate 25. Over.
Echo 2, message received. Out.
London dock's empty. Been closed since May.
Craddock's still on the case. Look! You told me quite clearly he was going to be taken off it.
That's what I understood, Richard. I mean, they're having an inquiry. It's fixed. But apparently the rule is that it's left to the discretion of the Assistant Commissioner whether to suspend the man or no. He decided no.
Do you mean to tell me that as a Minister of the Crown you can't have a mere Assistant Commissioner?
Of course I can.
Well, do so, without fail, tomorrow.
Look, old boy. I think I can say I'm one of your oldest friends. This week you've taken as big a pasting as any man can take. You've taken it on the chin, with dignity, with immense courage. In the opinion of many of my colleagues, you've grown in stature rather than diminished.
You have to go bankrupt to get a kind word from a politician.
No, Richard, I mean it. Now, why don't you go away somewhere? Have a proper rest. Try and get things in proportion again. It isn't the end of the world, you know.
The end of Victor's the end of my world.
I don't believe it. You've plenty of friends still. But this silly vendetta against a rather ordinary policeman simply isn't worthy of you. People will see you as rather petty.
I want Craddock's head on a platter. And you're going to do the chopping.
I'm afraid I don't think I can, Richard. Especially after this. The man's a hero.
You don't have to shout about it, do you? And Craddock can't. He's bound by some act or other.
No, Richard.
If you don't get Craddock off this case tomorrow, I'll print enough to blow you and your bloody government sky high. You know that I can do it, and that I will. I haven't much more to lose, but by God, you've still got a long way to fall.
By his courageous death, Sergeant Thomas has given the finest possible example to every policeman in this country. Oh, you'll be pleased to hear that the Home Secretary is going to announce the opening of a fund in his memory.
Yes, I'm pleased. And I'm sure Thomas would have been too.
Well, John, I'm sorry the case should have to close on such a very sad note.
Close? But I've still got the most important part of the crime to solve.
It's closed, John. I've closed it, officially. The case of the gold robbery at West Marsh is over. I'm sending you on indefinite leave, on full pay, of course, until I can set up this wretched inquiry.
Well, I hope you don't think that's
John,
going to stop me.
Don't force me to suspend you. I'm acting on orders. Definite orders. From above, you understand me?
Am I allowed to use my office?
Not after today.
What do you want? You look tired.
Yeah.
You've had a rough time.
Yes, I may be leaving the police.
Resigning?
Yeah.
Why? What else have you got? You don't want to retire now, do you?
It's going to be an inquiry.
About us?
Yeah. But it's not your fault, nothing to do with you.
It wasn't really, was it?
No, it wasn't. I was just telling you. I don't give a damn anymore.
Well, that's up to you. I'd have thought it was better to wait until, you know.
Mary's given me a divorce. It's underway.
Is she going to cite me?
No, nothing like that.
Well, it's sensible anyway. The way you two were going on, you'd have driven each other around the bend.
Yeah.
Last time we met, not very long ago, 3 weeks in fact, I asked you if you were going to come and see me again. And you said you couldn't because I was part of your work. Isn't that what you said?
Yeah, but I was under a bit of a strain then. I mean, things are a bit different now. See, I'm off the case, and as I said, I may be leaving the police if there was a good I mean, if it was seemed like it was a good idea, I don't think I'd have much difficulty in getting another job.
You could write the story of the gold robbers.
Yeah, that's an idea.
John, you and I have had a longish relationship, isn't that what they call it? I've had more time than you to think about it. It's been pretty fraught, hasn't it? And not really very satisfactory. I think the trouble was that we're both rather lonely sort of people who don't get on awfully well with other people. And I don't think it would be much good for either of us to carry on with it. You know I'm serious.
Yeah, no, seriously.
There isn't anybody else.
No.
It's just that I can't see us making a very successful married couple. Can you?
I don't know.
As far as I'm concerned, whatever there was killed stone dead 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. I see. Okay, Val.
Sorry, John, I hope you find something.
Yeah. Goodbye.
John, I'm sorry to be a bore. Could I have the key?
Oh, yeah, there.
When Grierson was made a minister in the government, he had to resign all his directorships. That's the usual thing. But he is known to have lobbied on behalf of independent airlines, complaining they were getting a raw deal. That's about all the information on Martin Grierson to date. This is Detective Sergeant Thomas reporting, recorded August the 4th, 1969.
I've got nothing. Nothing at all. Everything I've worked for, everything I've built up, gone. Even this house, your cottage, a flat in London, all belong to the company.
Surely you have some assets abroad.
I I stood or fell by my companies.
Pa, is there nothing I can do to help?
Well, leave me alone, Jenny. Who asked you to come here?
No one. I just wanted to tell you how grateful I am to you for all the time and trouble you've spent in helping me with my investigation. Without you, I don't think I ever would have found the man or how he did it.
You found him?
Yeah.
I gather you've been suspended pending an inquiry.
Oh, yes, I have. Yes, I'm not here as a detective. Just plain Mr. Craddock.
Who was it?
You.
I think you've been at it too long. You've gone off your rocker. That accusation could finish you for good.
Oh, I'm not finished for good already, then? No, it was you. Last November, you got news that £5.5 million worth of gold was being transferred from Africa to London for safekeeping during a civil war. You probably even suggested the idea. And not being a member of the criminal fraternity, you got in touch with Victor Anderson, a known leader of crime, to steal the money. You made a bargain with him. Anderson took £500,000 to pay for the expenses of the robbery and kept $1 million for himself. You took the remaining $4 million in gold. Had it all melted down probably on that same day in Zurich, sold for Swiss francs, deposited in several private numbered accounts. All ready.
Ready for what?
Oh, Victor Airline was going bankrupt. You needed the money to save it.
You've certainly got a remarkable, if somewhat twisted knowledge of how big business works.
Yes, I've been taking lessons since I met you.
In that case, you'll probably have some sympathy with a man in his desire to see the gold put to work to do something useful.
Sympathy? You expect me to have sympathy for a man who murders for money?
You think that a man who sells an idea to another man, for whatever price, can possibly be held responsible for the result?
That's it. You're not responsible to anyone or anything. You just couldn't take failure. You think you're a god, beyond the law. You'd stop at nothing for power, not even murder, and you have murdered for it many times over.
You've no proof. Not a shred. And you never will have.
I so will. I so will. I'll never give up until I do break you. As a private citizen, talk to the press, talk on television, get an inquiry into the affairs of that Minister Grierson, turn the city upside down. I'll pull your past into tiny pieces until I get the evidence that I need. I'll hound you for the rest of your life. I'll go on and on and on. till I get you.
That's always assuming that you get out of this room alive.
I don't think you're capable of doing your own killings.